When it comes to starting a fashion brand and considering costs, I find that most people consider the wrong things. So in this video, I want to uncover 3 of the costs that you actually need to be thinking about when it comes to your fashion startup, and some of the ones that are often considered but actually you don't need to worry about right now. So let's have a look at what those are in this video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Vicki, founder of the Fashion Business Coach, and I love helping fashion brands to scale strategically and grow their profits. If you're new here and you enjoy this video, make sure that you subscribe or follow depending on the platform, because I produce a new free video every single week. Now, today, as I said, I wanted to dive in a little bit to cost to consider as a fashion startup, because a lot of people are getting this wrong and they are thinking about what I like to call the pretty things. So generally the things that they're excited about. For example, they'll often think, okay, I'm going to need to hire a web designer because I need a really beautiful website. I'm going to want amazing photography, so I need to hire a photographer and then a model and a stylist and all the things that come with that photo shoot. And then they get excited about all those kinds of things, and then they start to think a little bit more practically, and they think, okay, I actually need to pay for production costs as well, and then, oh my goodness, that's actually a lot of money, and they start to sort of panic a little bit and overthink it, and then essentially don't proceed for one reason or another. Usually it's because of that fear of the cost of production. The good thing is, however, when you're starting out, you don't actually need to pay for any of these things. So for you relief, you can not have to worry about that anymore. And I'm going to explain a little bit as to what that is in the end of the video. But as I said, this video is about the costs that you should consider. So what are those? Now I'm going to cover 3 main ones, and they're the ones that people tend to forget, I guess, because they're not so exciting, right? So what are the costs we need to consider? First off is the tech pack and sample development costs. So what is a tech pack? I have a ton of content on this, so if you've not heard me talk about this before, just comment below and I can send you a link. Essentially, you need a tech pack in order to have a good quality product. If you're not bothered about the quality, fine, go ahead, you won't need one with every factory. But if you want to have good quality, if you want to be in control of things like the fit, the quality and how high level that is, the fabrics and that sort of thing, then you'll need all of that information in a tech pack, and the factory will follow that for your samples and your bulk production. So alongside that, we need the samples as well, of course. So that kind of phase of the production side of things, you're right, we do need to think about those things up front, but more often than not, I find people thinking about that further step, that bulk production phase, and not thinking about the tech packs. And the tech packs, yes, it's a cost. However, they save you so much money in the long run and so much time in trial and error that that's a cost that I really recommend to factor in to get those samples together as quickly and efficiently as possible and to what you want, to your specification. So the second thing that we want to think about is professional services. So I'm talking things like legal fees, like tax advice, like insurance, all super, super important for a business, because the law makes no judgment on how big your company is. If you don't have the correct legal pages on your website, for example, or if you don't have the correct tax information that you're sending in, they don't care whether you're big or small, they're still going to pursue that, as a government. So make sure that everything's in order. And also just from a perspective of being legitimate as a business, if someone comes to your site and sees that there's all these things that they recognize are usually there on a website and they're not on yours, that's going to start to raise questions, and just protecting yourself as a business with insurance. Now, obviously, I'm not a professional service provider in that sense. I'm not a lawyer, accountant, insurance broker, but these are things that you want to think about and make sure that, yes, it's not exciting stuff, I know, but these are the things that we want to make sure we get right from the start so that we can have that peace of mind. And for those of you wanting more information on the legal side of things, I'll link to some resources below that have been helpful for me and a few other clients as well. I also think, along with that professional services, that it is worthwhile sort of budgeting for consulting support, simply because, yes, again, it's a cost, but as with the tech packs, it is a cost, but it is one that saves us money in the long run, because you don't want to go down this process of starting a business, spending loads of money, and then finding out like, oh, actually there was a much cheaper way to do it, or there was a way I could have made a lot more sales in and really capitalized on this. So for me, I've always invested in business support because I know that return on investment that I'm going to get and how much faster it's able to let me grow. Of course, I would love to help you if you're one of the people thinking about doing that. And I love helping brands to grow in the most strategic way so that they can really capitalize on their opportunities. So if that's you interested in that, I'll put my details below. But certainly just generally thinking about professional services and getting support is something that I rarely see people think about when they're starting out, but it's, one of the most important things for sure. And then the last thing I want to mention is the website hosting fees, because a lot of people, as I said at the start, will think about like the fun, glossy aspect of creating a beautiful website, but they won't think of that nitty gritty of, oh, okay, I need a domain name and I need to pay for the domain name hosting. I need to pay for the actual website provider and that sort of thing. So there are those recurring costs associated with having a website. So yes, you're kind of half right if you're one of the people thinking about websites, but we need to think about that ongoing cost of running the website rather than an initial upfront cost of the web designer that we don't need. So I hope those have been helpful. Let me know in the comments if those are ones that you've thought about. I'm guessing a lot of them are not. I'm just keen to hear your perspective on that. So let me know. And just to recap on what I said at the start about the production cost, you're not needing to worry about that yet. If you didn't catch my video last week, I recommend you go check that out, because basically I walked you through the VSP method, which is my signature method for launching not just your first fashion brand, but any collection in the future. And essentially, rather than risking all of our savings, as often is the case when we're a startup, rather than risking that or looking for investors who are going to have a different agenda to you, and potentially an uncomfortable situation can come out of investment, so I don't recommend that. What we can do is actually sell our products in advance and use that money to fund our production. It's such an easier way of working. It really helps me as a business owner to sleep at night, because I didn't think, oh my goodness, I've just spent all my money on this product. Am I going to sell it? And all these kinds of worries. So if you've ever thought to yourself, oh my goodness, are these things going to sell? You kind of can already answer that question before you pay for the production. So that's why it's not in these costs, because we don't essentially need to pay that out of our own money, is the bottom line. So I hope these tips have been helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.